Good morning, afternoon, or evening. Whatever time it is, wherever you're coming from, Cowboys Nation, you know the drill. Welcome to the Double XO Show.
Cowboys Nation, welcome back to the Double XO Show. I am your host, Zach White, and with me, as always, my girl, Camber Michelle, and our guest in the building today, Cowboys fans only, very own, Jay Tuck. What is going on, Tuck, man? I'm glad to have you here. It's been a minute, man.
Hey. Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys, man. What's going on, Cowboys Nation?
For real. We've been trying to get you on this thing for a little while, man. Things get busy. You know how it goes.
I know. Busy time, man. Busy season. So.
Yeah.
Much better than last year, I'll say that, man. Because last year when we were taking all those L's, it was kind of hard to jump on these shows and have these conversations. But now it's a little bit easier, man.
Why do you want to talk about that, man?
I don't want to
bring that up. I don't even want to bring that up.
Yeah, I don't want to bring it up. Exactly.
I was thinking today, I was like, man, last time we faced the Giants, pause, hard pause.
Yeah.
Hard pause.
Yeah, hard pause.
So, we're moving on from that. We're moving completely.
I almost quit content after that.
I'm not even gonna lie. I was right there. Matter of fact, I had you on my podcast. I guess it was the week after that, right? So that was the week after Dak went down, and that was brutal, man. That was brutal.
Right.
And I just came into the game, so I'm like, man, like already you got to roll with the good and the bad,
right.
That's how it
makes
goes.
a lot easier this season.
I threw out something on Twitter today and want to get your guys' opinion. Do you think Roger Goodell and the NFL purposely made this game on this weekend being the 1 year anniversary of Dak going down? Giants at home 1 year later.
It could be.
It's good. But to be honest with you, there hasn't been much surrounding it because we have so much other news, which we're going to talk about here in a second. But you would think that there would have been a lot of buildup around that story from the mainstream media, but you really haven't heard much about it, to be honest with you. So if that was the plan, they kind of missed the mark. But
which is a great thing. I'm
right.
Everybody wants to put it behind them.
We threw a couple other things out there to distract him.
Yeah, there we go.
Here's some Collins, here's some Jaylon. We had.
It's gonna get mentioned.
Like I said,
counterpunch. There you go.
Yeah.
Like I said the other day, I bet Hard Knocks is pissed off that they didn't film the Colts during preseason. During season right now.
So is Hard Knocks on right now? Because I haven't heard anything about Hard Knocks. So are they airing Hard Knocks Colts episodes now? Is it?
Not yet, but I think.
That's what I was wondering. I was wondering if it's going to be like that or be like an all or nothing kind of thing, where they do it like at the end of the season. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know how they're going to.
Yeah. No one's going to watch that. Let's be honest.
Ain't nobody worried about that.
Yeah.
We got more important news than that. And as a matter of fact, let's go ahead and dive right into it. Jaylon Smith, as we know, he was cut about 24 hours ago. And here we are, man. Jaylon Smith cut, and there was a lot of things that kind of went into that. Then Gilmore was a potential option.
Mm-hmm.
That was a huge miss, in my opinion, and I want to tap in with that. But first, let's just get to the feel in the room, man. How do we all feel right now about this cut right now with Jaylon Smith?
From my perspective, man, I'm really just trying to make sense of it. Now, I think that we were all shocked, and not shocked that we moved on from Jaylon Smith, because we all kind of seen the writing on the wall. Like even coming into the season with him, and also LVE, got the 55, the 54 joint today. For both of them,
nice.
Yeah, Vander Smith today. But we all knew the writing was on the wall just based on the depth and the new additions of Micah Parsons, Jabril Cox, Keanu O'Neal, and the list goes on and on. But to kind of get the news on Tuesday, it kind of caught me off guard because I was like, why? What was the real value? And, of course, my phone was going off like crazy. I'm sure your guys are doing the same. So trying to get to the bottom of it. And once I kind of sat back and analyzed what was going on, I felt like it was more due to Jaylon. Like, I feel like they had a conversation with Jaylon, kind of laid out some things on the table. And he said, you know what? You can keep it. I'd rather just go do this. Because a lot of Cowboys fans, I know they have this fantasy is that, oh, you've been playing so bad, Jaylon. They walked in the office and said, get your stuff. You're out of here. That wasn't the case. And we clearly found out it was a lot due to that injury clause that he had in his contract. Now, I know that yesterday Jeff Kavanaugh kind of spoken about there was an offset clause where if the new team was going to pay a certain amount, it will offset from the Cowboys amount. Well, Todd Archer came out and spoke about it today that wasn't the case.
Right.
And so from my perspective, it's like you would just want to probably keep the death piece just in case with the injuries going on, with this COVID season, different things going on. Why not just keep Jaylon as a death stash since you already paid him the $7 million guaranteed just in case of an emergency? But clearly that wasn't the case and they were ready to move on. So, I mean, it is what it is.
See, that's what I thought too. I thought the offset clause, and I heard it from No C. So, but right now he's a Green Bay Packer, so he's doing a little bit of the double dip. Completely understand that, but yeah, you start to question like, okay, well then why was this move made? But in my opinion, I was thinking, okay, that if he gets injured now and it's an injury that lasts up until next season, maybe that's the reasoning behind it. Maybe they're like, we're playing, with fire right now. Like you're gonna get burned if we keep rolling with this. Maybe he gets injured, and then it was discussed as well. They're slowly decreasing his snap count, right? And they said Jane Slater came on and said maybe they were worried about that having an effect on the locker room than outright going ahead and just being done with it now instead of prolonging it, reducing his snap count as somebody who's well respected in the locker room, right? I mean, this is a guy that the players love. We can say all we want about him, but the players, they love him. They love the guy himself, and he's been a great guy with us. I think for me, it's like the decline. We've seen a little bit of the decline. There's been moments where there's some good stuff as well, but ultimately, I'm happy to move on from just the chaos that was surrounding it, man. You just get tired of fighting against it or for it or whatever it is, whatever side you're on. It just kind of separated, Cowboys fans in general. I was just tired of hearing about it. I was kind of ready to move on in this situation.
Yeah, and I think go ahead, Cameron.
I was just going to say, so I was told there's a little bit more back behind this story of the clause, and they were going to trade him. They were trading him, and they got word as early as the end of last season that he was going to go on the trading block, and things weren't good. At-risk surgery was just a cleanup surgery, nothing more. And so they used that clause to assure him this money going on. Then, the whole thing that they were going to trade him to Miami, and that fell through and everything. And then there were no takers. And Dan Quinn basically got told to sit him. And that they didn't want to risk, because if he got injured right now in one of these games, next year's was guaranteed. Exactly. They needed out of it. And they asked him to drop it. He chose not to. Yeah. So they did it for the protection of the team. Yeah.
And you got to understand, it's a business aspect. But from my concern, because I just posted on Twitter, actually, Ian Rappaport was saying that the Panthers were interested in trading. So we're hearing conflicting things, that there's some teams that were interested in actually making a trade versus some say that no one actually wanted him at all, and there was no market. But you heard when he hit a free agent, there was like Pittsburgh wanted him, Miami was in the play, Green Bay was in the play. And so I felt like you could have got something for him. And my question is, okay, Jaylon started off, I think, game one versus the Bucs. I think he had like 16, 17 snaps. And then it ramped up into like the 50 range. And so even being a captain on Sunday. So if you had the concern about this injury clause, why would you even ramp it up in the first place? Why wouldn't you just stash him and then play Jabril Cox and let him get that exposure? And so it's a lot of conflicting things. And like I said, like you said, Zach, I think Jaylon just needed a fresh start, because no matter what he did, Cowboys Nation was just out on him. They had a target. Yeah. And so it just wasn't going to work. But from the business aspect, I personally would have liked to have Jaylon just in-house, because I feel like he does more in-house versus just being out, because he's kind of see it. Like in LVE, he kind of feels depleted. I mean, Dax talked about it. Diggs found out on a damn podcast that, so it's like when you work with someone for quite some time and he has that impact in the locker room, you pull that out, you have to be careful. Just like when it comes to putting bad chemistry in, you got to worry about sometimes pulling good chemistry out. So it's going to be interesting to see how this team rallies on Sunday, but I think they'll be okay eventually because they got 4. So
I agree. And
they're going to be fun.
And speaking of strange moves, and this is not necessarily, I guess, on us. I don't know how much work we necessarily put into trying to trade for for Gilmore. But that was an option, and I felt like it hurt. It hurt. That was one that I was really excited about. I felt like we had a really good opportunity with landing him, and especially with moving on from the Jaylon stuff. Figured maybe next year with the cap, maybe we could afford a player like this. Also with Zeke's restructured contract. So, and I know more of that ties into kind of next year's plans, but it was an option, and we missed it. The Panthers, they end up scooping him up. It was for a 6th-round pick? Is that what it was for?
6th-round pick in 2023.
Goodness, that hurts. That hurts.
Right.
Right. It hurts, but I'm not sure many other teams had an opportunity. You know, Gilmore grew up minutes in that stadium.
Right.
He's a hometown hero there. This is probably his last contract. We did reach out, and I guess we were interested. Never been an option for him. So.
Yeah. Just wasn't enough to get it done is what it felt like at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the biggest frustration amongst Cowboys fans is when are we actually going to push all the chips in and say we have a strong core, let's go for it right now, and we just haven't seen that. And like us Cowboys fans have been watching this team for a long time. We grew up that way with Jerry. You know, it was just like, okay, I needed this additional piece. Yes. I'm going to get prime time. Boom. Like, whatever. Let's get it done. And so we were accustomed to that, but we just don't see it anymore where you can really get a Gilmore to really be that other outside corner, because I'm not thinking about in right now in the sense of like next 3 to 4 weeks, but once you get into the playoffs, you're going to have teams that have a high quality second wide receiver, a nickel guy in Tampa, and also the Rams, and the list goes on, where I feel like we're not equipped. And I saw Brian Broaddus tweet actually today earlier that Kelvin Joseph might not be back until after the bye week now. So it was just like, all right. So, I mean, we really have that question mark at the cornerback position, and Stephon Gilmore would have really just solidified that position. We don't have to worry about it anymore and just move on. But the Cowboys are always, we tried. We tried to make that move. We poked around, but they're never aggressive and just going out, getting it done, and getting that guy. It goes on from Minkah Fitzpatrick and so on and so on. So it's frustrating.
Yeah.
What was the last guy that you guys remember? I mean, besides
Coop,
giving up the one for Coop. I mean, beyond that, I can't remember a seasoned veteran that we went out and paid good money, got him.
And the only reason Coop happened is because the levees broke. Like, they got backed into the corner because just like they kind of pulled Jaylon out, they pulled Dez out, and they tried to get Allen Hurns, and they were going to do this wide receiver by committee, and it got so bad.
So bad.
They were kind of forced to do that, So it's like, I feel like that's where the Cowboys are, is like they're not going to go and get that guy until we're sitting back in a 4-game hole thinking, okay, now we need a second corner. But sometimes it's too late. Like, just go get it. And deal with the consequences later. So
exactly, I want to see desperate while you're winning. I want you to always be desperate to win more games and pick up whoever you need to pick up. Not with this like, oh, we're desperate because we're broken.
Right.
So that is definitely it's concern, but it is what it is. We moved on, and it's something we're gonna have to think about going forward, especially like you said, getting Kelvin Joseph back later on, and then dealing with Anthony Brown, which had a better game this past week, but I'm not putting all my cards on the table for Anthony Brown, so
right.
But speaking of just the chaos amongst the Cowboys community, let's go ahead and dive into this as well. You mentioned, and we've all been kind of on this, and you kind of got this group together and kind of got us started. But talking about the energy that we have in AT&T Stadium, right, and some of the people that are, it's just a different kind of class level. Like you got other people, and you got Arrowhead and the Chiefs, and you got the 12s, and it's the culture there. They have this huge culture and this loud stadium that's packed, and we're just not seeing the same thing at AT&T Stadium. And you have a very personal story to this as far as even just last week. So I wanted to dive over that real quick before we dive into just the Rowdy Row whole thing that's going on and how you were able to get in touch with that gentleman. But go ahead and tell him last week and touch up on that a little bit.
Yeah. So actually Monday Night Football rivalry game versus the Eagles. I mean, there was a lot of Cowboys fans out there, and where I sit is in the 100 section behind the Cowboys, and it's 3rd down. We're playing in a fun game. I'm standing up, and I'm constantly hearing, "Hey, can you sit down? Can you sit down? Can you sit?" I'm just like, At my home stadium in Dallas, people are telling me to sit down because my defense is out there trying to get a third down stop. And I'm just like, what is going on? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. And it wasn't until the Panthers game, I'm sitting back and watching TV, and it was the Sam Darnold play. It was like 3rd and 12 that he ended up completing. But it's like, I look on TV, national TV, and I see 3 Cowboys fans standing up on 3rd down. And I am just like, this is ridiculous. And this culture is so different. And I feel like AT&T doesn't belong to the hardcore football fan. I feel like maybe some Cowboys fans, granted, they come out, they support, they spend their money, but they're very entitled, and they kind of take it for granted versus the other stadiums that you mentioned. I live here in Kansas City, and I tell you, when you go to Arrowhead, it feels like football. If you sit down in Kansas City, you're going to see butt cheeks the entire game. And it's just that type of environment, but we just don't have that at AT&T, and it's been frustrating. And there's been multiple times, other situations outside of Monday, I've been asked to sit down in my own stadium, and it just doesn't make sense. I don't know how to comprehend it. Yeah. So, I mean, I've had ushers called on me, all sorts of stuff. I've almost been kicked out of my seats for standing up. Now, if you've been to a Cowboys game, on the Jumbotron, it's 3rd down. Rowdy comes on the screen and says, "Stand up and shout." And I do that, but then y'all call the ushers on me. And I'm just like, all right. So, I feel like I don't know what it is, man, but I feel like it's an issue we definitely need to address and fix immediately.
Yes, and it's a part of it's a culture issue, and it's been this way for a while. It's really been this way, and we discussed this since Jerry Jones kind of bought the team, and we're doing well in a lot of other aspects, and hell, we travel well to other games, other stadiums as well, but this is an issue inside AT&T. I've experienced some of the same things inside AT&T, and I'm just looking around. I remember my first game to AT&T Stadium. I was so excited. And I'm just looking around and seeing all these people sitting down, and I'm tripping out. This is the experience of a lifetime for me.
Yeah.
It's like the heavens just opened up, and I'm like, my God, I'm cheering, and I'm just looking around like, what the hell is this? Like people just hanging out. So yeah, it's a problem, and we discussed this, and we've been discussing this probably roughly over a year is kind of what it's getting to now, but. Just picking up that pace and doing something about it and making a change amongst Cowboys Nation and wanting everybody at the stadium, whatever we got to do, get out of your seats and root for this team. Be loud, So, but I wanted to bring this up, and this was your tweet here, and you said, "Thank you all for your help, Cowboys fam. I was able to find the guy who led Rowdy Row Petition. We're going to get started soon, but it's going to take all of us. Crazy Ray would never sit on 3rd down." So just explain that situation kind of to us and how you're able to find him.
Yeah, so there was a guy, I believe it was in 2014. His name is Gabriel Carranza, and it was way back in 2014. He went to a Cowboys versus 49ers game, and the same situation happened to him where he was standing up, cheering on his team, and he was asked to sit and almost was escorted out the stadium for standing up, not fighting, not throwing, but just standing up because other people was complaining. And so he started what's called the Rowdy Row Petition, where they're really wanting a section, not sure where it's going to be placed, but just a section for the diehard Dallas Cowboys fans where we can go and really be ourselves. Now, I know what their response is going to be. We have the standing room only. But if you've ever been and you've been in the standing room only seats,
it's awful.
You've been damn near by the back door. Like, you've been better off just sitting at the bar and watching the game sometimes. And so what's happening is, like, the diehard Cowboys fans, because it shows clearly by the standing room only that people are willing to stand not only on 3rd down, but for the entire game, but they're priced out way into the back where they really don't have any impact on the field. And so what he was trying to do is just get one row, one section, just for those diehard fans. They can have flags, they can stand up, they can have face paint, all sorts of stuff, and rep their team. And he had a petition that got up to like 2,000 subscribers or 2,000 signings. Kind of died out. He was working with the radio station, but life kind of happened. But I was able to find him on Facebook, and I said, "Hey, man, I'm ready to kind of pick this torch back up and get things moving because I believe in it, because it's something that's needed at AT&T Stadium. Because if you've ever been to a Cowboys game, it just feels different. It doesn't feel like football belongs there. Like, a lot of people are there for the ambiance, the experience. I mean, in my section, there was people not even wearing Cowboys gear. It's just like a date night, the place to be, like suit jackets, button ups. I'm like, you're not even wear a Cowboys hat or nothing, but it's just like going out to the experience. Fans show up and fill out the seats 5 minutes prior. It's just fashion be late, but we have to change it. And then we talked about changing the culture amongst the team and the organization. Well, let's change it with us first, and maybe that will steamroll with the team and the organization. So hopefully we can get this thing, another engine under it, and maybe have something come out of it where the fans can really be fans at AT&T Stadium.
Yeah, there you go, man. And that's so. I mean, we all need to kind of get on board with this, and this is something that, and eventually we'll probably bring, like you said, we'll get that petition going again, and we'll get everything started back up. And that's just, it's important to the community, to the fan base, and because I mean, I want to bring my kid there. I want him to get the full experience too. I want.
And speaking of the, sorry,
go ahead. No, you're good.
I was just saying, speaking of the community part, and I tweeted out this. When they introduced the soldiers, my girl Kim and I, we're the only ones standing up for like 3-4 sections of us clapping for our soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
That it's gotten to that point.
It's just it's just different.
It's
like
awful. On Sunday we were we were two of the girls standing in the section screaming on third down.
Mm-hmm.
It floored me when the soldiers were on the screen, and they're not even standing up for these soldiers.
Yeah.
Salute.
Something.
It's just different. And like I said, and this summer, because I was kind of bored without having sports, but I started getting into soccer. And so I started going to the Kansas City Sporting games here in Kansas City. And I would tell y'all, I kid you not, I mean, I kind of turned into a soccer fan, but that experience at this small soccer stadium is 1,000 times better of a fan experience than AT&T Stadium. Yeah. You stand the entire game. You have your own fan entrance. You have your own, just courtyard for the fans only. You have chants. We had a damn beer snake going. Like, it's just a different environment. You're just like, this is how it should feel. I mean, we pay a lot of money to go to Cowboys games just to sit. Like, why would you do that? Like, you should be up. You should be drenched in sweat, no voice, anything by the time you leave that game. But it's like only a slim few of us are doing that because everyone's just having happy hour and just happy to be there. And so hopefully we can spark something that can change this culture at the stadium because our team needs it. So
100%, man. And I actually had a similar experience at an XFL game. So I live in Houston, so I went and saw the Roughnecks. It was the craziest, most fun time I've ever had at a game.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I mean, just
I was going to the Renegades
going around,
games
people
here.
drinking. It was just a good time. It was a different atmosphere. That's what you expect to see when you go into see your favorite team, and as someone as big and on a world map as far as Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. It should be a different atmosphere. It should be it should be one of those things that we're proud of. We're like, we are the best. Yeah. Like we're the best. So let's act like it. You know what I mean? Let's show everybody.
I've been to games in Seattle, and I walk away jealous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So jealous.
Yep. Yep. I was at the AFC Championship game when the Chiefs went to the Super Bowl. I'm just like, forget them going to the Super Bowl. I'm like, man, why can't we just have games like this where you stay the entire time, just having a blast? And like I said, the Cowboys fans, we don't have a culture or an identity where if I see you in the airport, Zach, I can say this and you can say that to me and we can just echo throughout the whole airport. I can maybe say, how about them Cowboys? And that's about it. Like, but we don't have a chant. We don't have a fight song. We don't have nothing but how about them Cowboys or let's go Cowboys, clap, clap, clap. Like, it's so basic, whereas like the smallest high schools in Texas, they have more of an identity than the Dallas Cowboys, which is the biggest in the world. Like, we should have something where we could chant, and if I say on the plane, you can say in the back of the plane, all of a sudden you hear this song throughout the entire plane, but we don't have that. Like,
that's what we tried to get going last year. I remember that now. We were talking about a chant. We were going back and forth.
Something,
anything.
Like something. Yeah, go ahead.
I feel some of it, though, is AT&T Stadium, though, because I went to the Cowboys Houston game down there at NRG, and they're in Houston, and there was as many Cowboy fans as there were Texans fans, and we were loud and we were screaming, and it felt like, so there's been three other games I've ever felt that energy in AT&T. One was the Lions playoff game. What was that, 2014? I mean, my
Yeah.
kid was still
Yeah,
in middle school back then.
That's 2016, right?
Was
Or
it?
no, 2014.
No,
2014. Yeah, it's caught a year. Yeah.
And then that last game of the season
2018.
in 2018 against the Eagles, and then I went to the next week against the Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
That Seahawks game was live,
That was the only one.
100%.
The Seahawks game, we all wore white. It was a whiteout game.
Yeah, it was
so
a
you had to wipe
whiteout.
the jersey. Everyone had towels. We were standing up the entire time. I felt proud to be a Cowboys fan. Like that's what it should, but it shouldn't take a playoff game for that to happen. Like it really shouldn't. So, it's just interesting. But you made a great point, and someone brought this up to me on Twitter that maybe it is the Jumbotron, because the Jumbotron is so massive that you feel obligated to watch it. So I think maybe people just go there and just sit back and eat popcorn and watch the screen versus what's actually going on the field. And maybe that's a part of it, because when we're in Tampa, Cowboys fans we were standing up the entire game, like going apes. But when we're at home, it's just happy hour, man. I'm just happy to be here.
You at the IMAX, man.
You're at the IMAX. Exactly, man. We're at the IMAX theater. It's like a movie night. Let's go watch the Cowboys on the big screen. So maybe that has something to do with it.
Yeah, it's got to change, and we're gonna this is gonna be something that we're gonna stick to, throughout this process. We're all gonna kind of get together, work together. A lot of us content creators, and get the word out. Just grow our identity, and get it moving. So I
don't want to say this. I don't want to say act like Cowboys fans are bad. We're not bad. I just feel like there's things that we could do to be better and really push over toxic. When I say this, Cowboys fans like, oh yeah, you're calling out. I'm not saying we're bad, because we're loud. We're loud from the comfort of your own chair, but you can stand up and get a little bit louder and be yourself, or at least don't call the ushers on people standing up. Come on now.
Anybody who's been to an actual game knows that. I mean, and it's not just. It's not just
in the top
us.
10.
Yeah.
We're in the top 10 of loudest stadiums.
Right.
And we actually do it.
Right.
Which we should be, with this stadium that size and that many people in it.
We'll get everybody on board. We're working on it. We're coming up with a game plan. Like I said, y'all mentioned world record at one point in time to, whatever. But that's the thing. It's got to be consistent, though. I don't want it just one game where everybody goes wild.
But see, I think the world record, what the world record could do, because it happened here in Kansas City, it gives you an identity. And so let's say, for instance, we break the record and we're the loudest stadium in the world. Jerry's going to put that all on shirts. And so maybe it gets in your veins that it's okay to be loud at AT&T Stadium. So maybe that's the start. It's just break the record, because we have more than enough capacity to do it. So I think Allen Fieldhouse here in Lawrence is like 135 for indoor, and Kansas City is 144. I should know that because they have billboards everywhere, but it's like 144. With AT&T Stadium, 100,000 people, closed, open, whatever you want to do, we should be able to blow the doors off of both of those records, wear it with a sense of pride, and continue that trend moving forward throughout the games.
100%, man, 100%, and that's what we'll get there. We will get there, 100%. But we got the Giants coming up this week, and we do need to get loud for this game. It's NFC East. Of course, we all know, and it's the revenge tour. It is the revenge tour, and I'm talking about just from what happened last season against these guys and all the NFC East. These guys came in here and they thought they were doing something special because they beat up on the Cowboys, who had half the damn team out, including their leading quarterback. And that time is done. I'm glad you enjoyed your little year of fun. That time is over. We're about to whoop that ass, and I'm ready for it. But let's go a little bit over this game, some of the matchups and some of the things that we're seeing. And we'll go ahead and start off with our offense against their defense. What are y'all's top three matchups within that our offense against their defense?
Yeah, I think that the main thing is our front offensive line versus their defensive line. Now, they run a 3-4, but they get a lot of pressure. They don't have a lot of sacks thus far, but they are able to get pressure from the film that I watch. Now, granted, Jameis didn't play the best on Sunday, but their defense, they get a lot of pressure. And they are injured a little bit because they don't have Martinez out there as far as the linebackers are concerned. So if we're able to control the trenches, which I believe that we can, based on what I've seen thus far, and allow Dak time back there, I feel like he's going to be able to cherry pick this defense away. Now, they do have Bradbury at the corner position. Now, is he going to trail Amari Cooper? Okay, cool. He can trail Amari Cooper. Then it's CeeDee Lamb's turn. So, I mean, I'm not really concerned about that matchup. It's really just buying time. And I feel like our running back trends of Zeke and Tony Pollard because they like to play a little too high safety situation going on there. I feel like Zeke and Pollard can have another big day. So continue to do what we're doing, man. It's not time to get cute and change everything. If it's not broke, don't fix it. I feel like the same kind of game plan that we've been seeing will be perfectly fine versus the Giants. So
Yeah. And I mean, they're allowing 71% right now in the red zone.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that for a little while there, it seemed like we were kind of struggling with finishing drives.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good to me. But they are ranked 15, so they're kind of a middle of the pack defense, right?
Right.
You know, you got Sheldon out there in the middle, and then you got Leonard Williams as well on the outside of defensive end, and Ojulari, a guy that we all kind of love.
He's doing
Good.
Right.
He's doing good,
Right.
man. He got 3 sacks already this season, so that's another guy that I'm keeping my eyes out for. I know they're going to be blitz happy. I got a feeling that's kind of what they're going to do. And again, when I go back to this week in and week out, until it's fixed, it's still a problem. Biotish. They're going to try to attack that center position as much as they can. Steele has massively improved his game, so I'm not concerned necessarily about that area. Not like I was a few weeks ago, which is a blessing to say. I'm so excited his growth, and he's continued to progress, and I hope it stays that way, right? We want to stay there. But even these young cornerbacks there, their secondary they got, like you mentioned, Bradbury, he's kind of a concern. He's got 2 picks this season. And you got Logan Ryan, Dory Jackson, Xavier McKinney, pretty young group of guys, but they got some talent back there. So at the end of the day, we can still take advantage of it. I'm not concerned at all. Like you said, what do you want to choose? Pick your poison. You want to attack the run, we're going to pass it. You going to attack the pass, we'll run it. I mean, it doesn't matter. Whatever you
can have it your way. 40 burgers, you can have it your way.
Whatever you weigh. 40 burgers all day. It doesn't matter.
Right.
What are you seeing, Cam? Is there a key matchup in this that you're kind of looking for?
Well, one of the biggest situations I saw today is Leonard Williams. They showed a video of him walking off of practice. There's a limp. There's a big limp. He's not back. He's not good. He's not healthy. So that's going to be a good thing to focus for us.
Yeah, 100%.
Jabril Peppers is hurt too. He's a hamstring. And so he's not solid either. So that's definitely going to help us also. They're both very much on that injury report. I just checked it. I think our tight ends are going to be a big play. I think they're going to be a big play in this one. So, with Jarwin. Schultz is doing great. And didn't we bring up McKeon? Isn't he done?
I'm not sure if he's off. I haven't checked. I know there was conversations about it, but I think that Sprinkle's still going to be the third tight end.
Okay, because McKeon's our best blocking tight end, and that'll help our run game immensely if he is available for it. Now, the one thing I did hear today is that I'm gone blank.
You're good.
Me out.
There's a lot. There's a lot to kind of take in when you're talking about this defense.
Right. No, it's not their defense. On our offense, Biotish might be not taking all the snaps.
McGovern.
McGovern. They've been working on McGovern and they were talking about him taking snaps. All right, totally blanked out on that one. But that he may be taking some snaps and he's getting more solid at it, and they have been playing him at center. So that worry with Biotish has been a lot, and he's going to have his chance.
That's huge, man. We've all kind of talked a little bit about that and how much of a problem that has been, and about why we haven't seen McGovern getting the snaps at the center position, because he did play some of that in college, right? And we wanted to see what he had to offer. Maybe they did put him in and we just weren't seeing it, right? And maybe it wasn't looking good. But to hear that he's getting more opportunities there, even if it is a backup role starting out, it may not end that way in the future, because we do want to. Anytime I've seen him on the field, I've been impressed. I've been impressed for the most part with what he has to offer. So I want to keep that moving. So that's definitely a positive piece for us going forward. If nothing else.
Puts our best five. That puts our best five out there right now that we have.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, we tried the Connor Williams thing at center. That didn't.
No.
There were some good things, and then there were some bad things. So we kind of moved on from that. But yeah, I do want to
I know
see
Connor Williams should be rooting for McGovern and get that center spot because that could buy him some time for next year.
100% on that contract. He's on that contract year, so yeah, that's something to look forward to. But the Giants' offense, right? There's not a whole lot of things to be concerned about with that, but Saquon Barkley is Saquon Barkley, and he had a really good game last week. I think he said 74 yards receiving. I believe he only had like 70 yards rushing too. So
52, I think.
52
I think
rushing,
okay.
52.
So the Russian game hasn't been really working out well for him, and it's been like 50-40 or something like that within the past, so far this season. So he hasn't broke out with a dominant running game, but he is a option. He's a pass option. He's a receiver. I mean, he can be a receiver out of the backfield. He's like a Christian McCaffrey. He's going to do some damage, and they're going to be looking for him. So that mixed with Daniel Jones is not so much the quarterback. It's more so the weapon that he can be, because he's got some sneaky feet. If he's not tripping over himself, he does have some sneaky feet.
Right.
And
You're not seeing ghosts.
Yeah. I mean,
no ghosts.
He got a 66.7 completion percentage. So I'm not over like, oh my God, I'm terrified of this guy. No, he's okay. But it's the sneaky feet that is a definite concern. But they haven't been doing really well in the red zone this season as well. They're only 33% in that. But the part that does concern me about this offense is these quick receivers. Okay, so you got Galladay had a hell of a game last week, 6 catches, 116 yards. But then I'm not too concerned about that. I believe in Diggs. I think Diggs can hold that down. I'm not concerned about that. But on the other side of the ball, I am definitely concerned when we're talking about John Ross and his speed, or Sterling Shepard and how they're going to utilize those guys. They're quick guys, and I'm very curious to see how Anthony Brown is going to be able to handle that. Are they going to mix in? I don't think so, but are they going to mix in maybe a little bit of Nashawn Wright? Are we going to see a little bit more of him this week? I know last week was kind of let's throw a man at the end and see how he does kind of thing with Diggs in his situation. But I don't know. That's my biggest concern going into this game is probably Anthony Brown. And as usual, it's the chip on the shoulder.
He also got to toss in Kadarius Toney, who had a decent game on Sunday as well, who's starting to emerge. So, I think we're starting to get into, all right, boss man, we kind of need you, bro. Like, kind of mode, because you mentioned these teams that can go 3 wide, 4 wide. We start to get a little thing, because I know we were high on Maurice Kennedy coming out of camp in preseason, but he didn't look too good when Diggs was he was dealing with his back issue, whatever you want to call it. So Kennedy didn't look too good, and so you might have the situation where the Giants have the favorable matchup versus our corners, and so it's going to be interesting, like you said, Zach, to see how that plays out. Now, my one concern as well is you mentioned Saquon Barkley. We kind of, as Cowboys fans, have assumed that our run defense is better, but we really haven't been tested because we haven't had a quality running back that we face, because we kind of dodged the bullet versus Miles Sanders because they abandoned it, and we had no Christian McCaffrey. So we know Jason Garrett isn't going to go away from the run, and we all know what his game plan is going to be. Is time of possession to keep the ball out of Dak Prescott's hand and keep the offense off the field. And so you have Saquon kind of getting momentum, but like you said, sneaky feet with Daniel Jones on those 3rd and 5s, 3rd and 6 that we saw with Sam Darnold actually pick up on Sunday. You have to be aware, because he can take off, but not only get the first down, he can go down the field as well. And so I'm not sure what the game plan is going to be. Now, we'll probably talk about that. Me personally, I'm not a fan of Micah Parsons at linebacker right now. I'm just not. But I feel like we're going to have to kind of keep a spy on Daniel Jones. So it's going to be interesting to see how that dynamic works. But the reason why people are probably killing me when I say that is, like, I feel like right now with Micah Parsons, granted, he's going to be a tremendous linebacker in the future, but right now his instant impact is coming off the line of scrimmage. And what teams are able to do, if you got to pick your poison, I'd rather Micah Parsons down the field in coverage, covering a tight end, 100%, versus being in my quarterback's face. And so you kind of saw that versus Carolina. He was on running backs and wide receivers. Like, you just down the field, okay, do that, and we can do everything underneath. But when he comes to the line of scrimmage, you have to shift your protection towards his way, which gives you favorable matchups with Osa, Randy Gregory, and the list goes on and on. So I'd much rather have him coming forward than being out in space. But it's going to be interesting to see how he's utilized now. Now he's going to be the primary linebacker with Jaylon gone.
Completely agree, and that was something I started to look forward to seeing was him at that defensive end position, and I wanted to see more of it. And the shift of back out to linebacker, like you're saying, it's I don't necessarily want to see him in coverage. I mean, and he's got the green dot now, so he's kind of he's a rookie that takes away a little bit of an extra from his game because he's having to think now. He's thinking about the process and lead people and tell everybody where to go. That becomes a little bit of an issue. We want Micah Parsons see ball, get ball. That's what we want from Micah Parsons.
For now, we can get cute next year. Like for now, it's just see ball, get ball because it's working. It's working as well. Like when they made the adjustment in the second half versus Carolina, you just saw the difference because it was constant pressure under Sam Darnold. But you go back to week 1 versus Tampa, like all right, you can cover Gronk if you want, but I'll take that matchup. And so. Yeah, exactly. I prefer see ball, get ball, Micah versus just all around linebacker for right now. But
yeah, agreed. Cam, what are you seeing with this offense?
You guys touched on a couple of mine. One of my biggest ones was Tony because he showed up last week, and and who are they going to have on him? And he could have himself a day if they don't have the right thing. Yeah. My other thing is definitely we need to spy on Daniel Jones.
Yes.
And my idea would be it would either be Curse or LVE, depending on the situation, would be the two spies. My biggest matchup between the two of them is Dan Quinn versus Jason Garrett.
Yep.
We all already know who's going to win that one.
Let's clap back.
That's my biggest. That play calling against each other, bring it. We got.
Yeah.
Now the Quinn.
But the one thing I will say about Jason Garrett, and we saw this kind of week 5 last year, expect the unexpected because Jason Garrett was calling the best game of his damn life. And if it wasn't for a few penalties, that game probably would have ended a little bit differently. So expect the unexpected, expect the trick plays, expect the, what the hell was that? I never seen Jason Garrett call that because he's going to have a chip on his shoulder because he's back in Dallas. It is what it is. But yeah, I like that matchup versus Dan Quinn versus Jason Garrett. It's going to be interesting.
And you remember, it was against Nolan, not Quinn. So
yeah. That's true. But man, they were wide open.
Still.
I forgot to play the.
I mean,
yeah.
And like as far as you're talking about having a spy on him, I mean, he's got 188 rushing yards. That's 2 more than his own running back in Saquon right now.
Rusher,
Yeah, he's the leading rusher on the team. So yeah, that's definitely going to be important. But I think right now too, something that I'm looking at and it's a win for us is our defensive line. I think our defensive line is starting to come together, and some of these young rookies are starting to kind of gel. When you're talking about guys like Osa, or you're talking about even Ghost last week looked like he's pretty decent. And then you got Bradley and Nye coming back this week, and as Keanu Neal as well. So those are important additions to bring back, and especially for depth purposes and considering what you're going to have out there at linebacker. Because right now, there's not going to be as much of a heavy rotation without Jaylon Smith there. So we're going to probably see a little bit more of LVE. Potentially Keanu Neal, if he's back healthy and everything works out well, we'll probably see a little bit of him as well. But but I think the defensive line right now is a win for us where we're at. I think Randy Gregory too, coming off his 2-sack game last week. I think he's going to be back in the mix again. I think he's going to do some big things. But I'm just not really none of their offensive line their linemen to me are that big of a concern. I don't see any matchups that scare me or that kind of. So I don't think we're and that's. A little bit of a reason I think they haven't been able to really establish, the run game as well. And I know Saquon's been kind of getting him back slowly from injury, but he will definitely be looking to have a breakout game. I think he's a lot healthier now, and that be ready for Jason Garrett in that. I mean, we already know our time here with Jason.
Right.
He loves to run the ball. He's going to get a little cute with some stuff too, but he's going to try to run it down our throats. I got a really strong feeling he's going to try and take advantage of our linebacker situation and our rookie, and he knows where he's getting himself into. So that's something I'm definitely looking at.
Yep, I agree.
They have some injuries on that offensive line too. You've got Thomas has got something with his foot and has not practiced the last couple of days, and then Bradenson's something going on with his hand. So
yeah, didn't they have?
That's why. Send them dogs, man.
Who's their main guy? Wasn't it? Is it Justin Puh? Isn't that their? Is that their center? Is that who I'm thinking, or I'm thinking of the wrong person?
No, their center's Billy Price.
Okay, I'm thinking of the wrong person. I must be thinking of the wrong person. I could have swore that was him. Okay, either way, I'm not concerned about this game. I want your final predictions. Go ahead, give them to me. What's your final predictions for this game?
So I got the final prediction for this game. It's going to be a lot closer than a lot of people might think. I have us at 27-21, and I feel like we'll kind of separate in the fourth quarter. Now, I say that because I'm going to the game, and like last time I kind of had a close game versus the Eagles, but those Eagles fans kind of pissed me off. So if I get out there tomorrow and these Giants fans piss me off a little bit, watch my show on Sunday morning, and it might be a lot different. But right now, I got a buffer. I got a buffer right now. But right now, they've been kind of even keel. So I got that 27-21 over the Giants.
Okay. I'll take it. What do you got, Kim?
I also will be at the game. It's my annual, we call it our bitches game. that me and my girlfriends go to. I think this is our 7, maybe 8 that we go to this one. I've got us a little bit further apart. I think some of the energy of it's being a year with Dak, and it's going to be a bit of an emotional night, and I think Dak's going to be on a mission to overcome this, and I'm calling 34-24.
Okay, cool. I'm for that. I'm gonna go ahead. It's the revenge tour, like I said. It's the damn revenge tour. It's gonna be 42-28. 42-28. I'm gonna call it now. I want Team 40 Burger is gonna be in the house tonight. It's gonna be a beautiful thing. I'm ready to see that, man. Like I said, I'm tired of all this. The disrespect that we got when we were down and out, right? And they thought they were kind of just owning us. Even that last game that they won, y'all ain't doing nothing.
Right.
It's time.
Right.
It's time. All right.
Right. If Mike McCarthy would have threw the flag, they probably would have swept them. But that's here or there.
That's neither here nor there. Yeah, I ain't even worried about. That's what I'm saying. I ain't worried about last year.
Right, last year.
Y'all have y'all's little victory. Y'all got y'all's. Okay, you feel a good story. Now it's time to actually play some ball. It's gonna be lights out, night time. Right. That's what we're gonna do. Right. So, Tuck, go ahead and tell them where they can find you at, bro.
Yeah, man. Thanks, guys, for having me on, man. Salute to you guys and all your success and everything, man. Keep climbing, keep pushing out that content.
We get there.
Yeah, you'll get there, man. Appreciate everyone for out there interacting in the chat, man. All support. So you can follow me on Twitter, of course, at JTuck151. Also on my YouTube channel, Cowboys Fans Only. And then you can go to my merch store, cowboysfansonly.com, to get your official merch. We're about to restock for the fall, man. Get the hoodies out, the long sleeve shirts out, all that fun stuff, man. So it's that time of year, man. But we're having fun, man. So like I said, keep up the great work, guys.
Yeah, hey, I got to get that Parsons hoodie. I want that Parsons hoodie.
Parsons hoodie. That's what everyone's asking for. Is the Parsons hoodie.
Yes. So, yeah, I'm ready for that, man. That's dope.
Sick.
That's dope. Y'all definitely check that out, man. He's got some fire stuff, some fire content, of course, as always. So thank you, my dude, for just being a part of the show.
Thank you.
Finally,
absolutely.
Definitely gonna do this again really soon.
Yeah, we'll definitely do it again.
Yes, sir. Let's get this dub. Cowboys Nation.
And get this Rowdy Row popping, too.
Let's go.
Go Cowboys.
Stand up on third down, Cowboys. Me and Cam are going to be there, so if y'all not standing up, we're going to call y'all out.
Yep, we're going to shame you and side-eye you.